Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I decided it's finally time to start looking at some of these interviews that have been done over the last few weeks with the castmates of the Wheel of Time. They're popping up all over the place. There's now been on several sites. I think the big thing to look at some of these is most of them are pretty much cookie cutter and asking the same questions. I decided might as well start, well, I guess with Matt, because it just happened to be the first one on my screen and the one I had saved. So, I have three of the sites up. The first one is a Wheel of Time series, WOTseries.com, because, well, that was the first one I think popped up. Like the first actual interview that started this new cycle of trying to get people to binge rewatch season 2 because nobody watched it the first time around. So, since nobody watched the first time around, they got to get those viewer numbers up because, as most of you probably know, Season 4 hasn't been announced yet, and maybe Amazon is waiting to see if anybody will actually rewatch this pile of junk. So, they're doing a press rush. They're trying to get as many eyes on it as possible, trying to get those view numbers up so they can lie about how successful it was. Well, they don't need the numbers to do that because they're already lying about it. But, on to the interview. Now, real quick about Donal Finn. I always want to say Flynn, like he's freaking in Tron or something. But Donal Finn, I think the actor could have pulled Matt off if he had the right material or anything to work with. I think he's got the charisma, but the material just lets him down big time. So the interview at this site, at least. Now we'll get to some of the other ones here in a minute, but there is really not much here. Most of the first part is just kissing his butt, as we do. The first part of every interview seems to have to be buttering up the actor or actress. So that's what we're doing here. We get this little snippet of, talking about who, haha, Matt Random Parent can't talk to women. Wonderful. And there we go. So that's half the article right there. Then we get this cringy image of, I guess these are, this is the Weird Al Yankovic Amish Paradise video. No. But I do have to point out that I do find it hilarious that Brigitte and whoever this is are just pulling arrows back with their CGI arrows because there's no arrows in those bows. But, moving on. Then they go on to talk about... I think first is the Old Tongue and the Horn of Valir section of episode 8. And they talk about how successful it was. And I mean, come on. Like, all you gotta do is look at the picture here, and it's crazy land, right? And there's the stolen prop from another show. So we're now kissing more butt. Of course there's going to be a little bit of that, but we're talking about how successful it was and how he spoke the Old Tongue and yada yada yada. The part that I found interesting about this part of the interview is how we're talking about the physicality of this scene. And in another interview they relate it to another movie, a very great movie. And it baffles the mind to think how we can equate one to the other. We'll get to that. But I don't know how many of you remember this scene, but it was mostly running straight forward and twirling a stick around. So I'm not sure how much physical demand and training went into it, but I guess, he's just trying to amp up that they worked real hard on it. I'm sorry you worked hard on it. It came out like a joke. Then we get to the point where we all knew he was gonna say Doviande se Tovis again. How many times did we say it? It was on my bingo card. Matt says Doviande se Tovius again and does something stupid, and that's exactly what he did. He said the line and he ran forward with his bedpost knife and died. Well, he should have died, but he didn't. And did some, flippy twirls and flippy kicks and yeah. So I do find it funny because we're as the actor, you do what you're told. I love how all of these actors have now said they've read the books and stuff, and nobody decided to bring up that that's not really the Old Tongue he should be speaking. There's a much more iconic line that I shouldn't say iconic, but there's, I think, a line that fits much much better into that sort of scenario in Old Tongue. Put in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. I know you do. That they should have used. It's one of these things. He says basically, we don't know what Old Tongue sounds like, and so yada yada yada. But man, you got to play that back. That was the cringiest thing I've ever seen. Okay, it was so bad. It was so bad. But he takes a lighthearted look. I might only have one opportunity ever in my life to do a battle cry. Obviously, I haven't read ahead, but so here. Then this is the part of the interview which is sort of like, what the hell are we doing? So how much of Donal Flynn or Donal whatever Finn is personally in Matt, or do you find in Matt the character? This is where we talk about being there for our friends and not letting them down. And then there's also somewhere in here where they call him Matt lazy. Yeah, here it is. So, and yes, well, like, this is where I'm not sure if we got the show confused with the books, because if we look back at Matt in the show, what does Matt do repeatedly? He just lets his friends down. He doesn't get. He leaves Egwene crying and upset. He leaves Rand to leave Carrion by himself to do whatever the hell he does. After just meeting up with them and finding out each other alive, they have a moment, and then he just lets them down again. That's Matt's arc in this story, is letting people down and not being there and being a coward. So all of this about how we're talking about how Matt is always there for him, and he always ends up helping, even though in the books he always ends up helping whether he wants to or not, because that's Matt. He's not going to let the girls get into trouble. He's going to help. He's going to save people. That's what he does, right? But it's crazy that you're trying to equate those personality traits into the show Matt, because all he does is leave people behind. So this is one of those things where we're into a little bit of wishful thinking and not actually the character that you want to be on the screen, right? And then we say, and you know what? I mean, I'd probably identify with being a bit lazy like him as well. Matt being lazy is like, I don't know. You guys tell me. Like, lazy is never anything I ever thought I would equate with Matt. Matt lazy. Yeah, laziness is the mother of all invention of a lot of ways. I don't understand what we're talking about here. It's like, give me why? Like, the show, he's lazy. He's a piece of trash. He doesn't even care to clean himself. And that's where we transition into, of course, the most telling and most wanted to know secret of Wheel of Time Season 3. Is Matt going to change his clothes? Who cares? Like, so well, there's loads to look for in Season 3. I mean, we've got much of it. I feel like I've filmed a good stretch of it, and I've really enjoyed the material of the new arc. This arc that I go on this season. So that's something. It looks like they've recorded quite a bit of Season 3 already, which we knew they'd started and stopped, so it's not that big a deal. I think it's more revealing that Season 4 hasn't been announced yet. But then we talk about Matt does change his clothes in between 2 and 3. Like, really, we would have to ask questions and get concerned if he didn't. Well, we're not concerned that he didn't change any clothes between Season 1 and 2, so what's the difference? Just let him wear the same thing. Who cares? Right? So and then that's it. So, but then from there, we also have, man, this picture, it just gets me every time. But then you have the Collider article. Donal Finn thinks there's room for a Wheel of Time musical episode. Are you all excited for a musical episode of Wheel of Time? Because apparently, I guess he's in a musical. Great. But this is where we get into some really weird shit. So Donal, who steps in the middle role for Mad Continent in Wheel of Time Season 2, says he used Fandom resources to learn about the world and his characters ahead of filming. Well, too bad none of that was used in filming because none of the book is in the show. Filming the Heroes of the Horn scene season 2 finale was singular experience for Finn, invoking epic moments from movies like Gladiator. Now, this is what they want. They keep doing this. They've been doing this now for months. They said there was a Gladiator type fight scene before the show was even out. Does anybody, honestly, who has watched the show, think that there was any fight scene of the, what was it, Madam Nethin, 28 minutes of fighting in 8 episodes that made you think of Gladiator? Definitely not the Horn of Valyr scene, where there's 12 people on a bridge fighting 20 people on a bridge. That goes nowhere. Finn also teases that Matt will get an opportunity to have a bath and new wardrobe in the upcoming season. So do we see a trend? The most important thing is Matt takes a bath. I mean, I know it's important. He didn't. So, he's the only guy that didn't get to change his wardrobe. Poor guy. But that's because Rafe Judkins hates Matt. It's pretty obvious he hates Matt. And yeah, so there you go. So again, we start with kissing the booty. Whatever Hades Town is, I guess it's good. I have no idea. I will never know. But then, congratulations on Hades Town or whatever, by the way. I feel like, now that's exactly what they did in the WOT series interview. Started with this. I feel like this is the first step in my trying to successfully pitch Rafe Judkins a Wheel of Time musical episode at some point. Do it, please. Do it. Let's get it done. Let's get that musical. Let's get it done. And Mr. Finn says a musical episode like in Scrubs. That kind of episode. See, even he's confused. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? There's room for that. I think he could be really responsive to that idea as a fan of musicals as well. Not a fan of Wheel of Time, but a fan of musicals. Who cares about Wheel of Time? I'm a fan of musicals, so let's shove a musical somewhere where there's no room for it, right? So let's see. The headline: Donal relied on the Wheel of Time fandom to prepare for playing Matt. They all say this. Who knows if it's true or not? Like, I guess we'll believe them. The problem every time they say something like that is because the characters don't look anything like they do in the books. So why are you relying on the fandom for stuff when you're not putting it on the screen? The things on the screen don't match the book, so you're relying on the fandom to tell you how to act when the things on the screen aren't the way you're supposed to act. So, you asking the question. So of course we're asking a question. We asked the other two. How many books are you in terms of where Matt's going? Well, we all know that doesn't matter because they don't care about what's in the book. So let's see here. He says it was such a whirlwind experience of jumping straight into the job and the resources that I used pretty much all of the fandom's resources. Actually, I learned about the world, the place that they come from, the rules of society, and the rules of the White Tower. Who cares about the rules of the White Tower? You don't need to know about that. Who gives a crap? It doesn't matter. I actually ended up using loads of Wheel of Time fandom stuff, the websites and resources. Well, I'm sorry you did that. Because it was quite a quick jump in and all of that. Then once I was betting into the character and the arc, the job, the schedule, and all of that, I was like, okay, I'm going to get stuck into the books. So, now this isn't quite his fault, but he went to the fandom resources, then he decided to read the source material after he's already started. That seems backwards to me. But, I try and read them at a pace that means that I'm about the similar part of the arc where they are in the show. Well, that's non-existent. So stop saying that shit. Like, this is where we get into this. This is where stuff starts to piss me off. Because we're not there. You'll never be there. The show has gone so far afield of the source material, there's no reason to read the books to know what's coming. Because you're never going to get there. We still haven't seen Falme. We still haven't seen the Eye of the World. So why are you invoking that matters? It doesn't matter. Stop lying. Now, I don't know that this is your fault. You're promoting your show. Hopefully you can get out of it, because I think you're a good actor. This is obviously me speaking. Not that you'll ever watch this. I think he's a good actor. I think he needs to get off this production as fast as possible, is what I think. It takes a mountain of focus and energy to do what Josh has done. Now, Joshua being the only one that has actually read all of the source material, because he was excited because he was cast as Rand al'Thor, one of the most powerful, characters in all of fantasy writing, and thought that this was his ticket to stardom, and instead he's stuck with this shit. Now, you are actors, and there is a thing called Audible. Put an earbud in your head and listen to the damn books. I guess I'm asking too much. I have a lot of admiration for him having completed the book so quickly, and so do I, because obviously he was looking forward to playing Rand al'Thor. Too bad Rand al'Thor isn't in the script anywhere. And that's... I don't understand why... obviously, he seems to be dedicated to his craft to where he wanted to try and be accurate, so he read the books. So I don't... But maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, and maybe it's just that everybody knows there's no book involved, so why waste time reading the books, right? So I guess it depends which angle you're coming from. I think that's probably the better angle, is why even bother? There's no book in the show. It doesn't matter. To your point, though, it's a big undertaking. As someone who's reading through them myself, it's a lot. So, of course, we have, some person giving the interview who hasn't read anything either. Because why get an expert? So then of course we get now Finn is doing the interviewing. I'm on book 5. So I just got past where season 3 is going to be, because I was also like, let me see what I can look forward to. Which is none of it. You can look forward to none of it, because none of it's going to be there. None of it. So, Matt and Min's friendship is one of the changes that the show makes, but it's such a fascinating relationship. Not really. Not really. And I feel like her betrayal cuts really deep and personal for him. Well, especially since it makes Min a dark friend, but we're not going to talk about that. Between someone like that, and maybe to an even more extreme extent, Pat and Fane, someone from the Two Rivers that Matt knows it longer, are those betrayals going to affect his approach to new people from now on? So you see this is why I'm shaking my head, okay? Because we just talk about the books, right? And then we go to something completely fabricated and not in the books, which is going to fundamentally change Matt as a character. It's going to pull Matt even further away from being Matt. It's going to make Matt some distrustful, dark frickin' whatever, with it walking around with a bedpost, and people are going to think he's crazy because they're going to be like, why are you walking around with a bedpost? So this is what they do. Talk about book, then say something completely non-related to book. That's a really good question. One of the reasons that I like Matt so much as a character is that he might often say, yeah, the world is falling apart, but I think he's a covert optimist. And that he has great faith in humans and in people. Where is that translated anywhere in the show? Somebody please tell me. Let me know in the comments where that is. Because I think we get a lot... I think this is happening a lot with the Wheel of Time show. Is that... when people start getting interviews and talking about the show, they get confused with the book, because this is not in the show. It's not in the show. Particularly, of course, the people in his life. It's easier for him to feel that way because he really cares about his friends. Does he? Not in the show, he doesn't. He was happy to see Rand, but it was equally as easy to just leave him. I mean, you can almost say he cares more about Min in the show than he cares about Rand, Perrin, Egwene, Nynaeve. He doesn't seem to care. He leaves Egwene, he leaves Rand, but Min he's all broken up about. The betrayal does really hurt because he sees a lot of his own life and hopes for what... Like, give me a break. This, come on, man. Stop. You're not... Oh, look. She's an outsider as well. Matt's not an outsider. Here we go. And she's fine. She seems real fine. And naturally, he trusts the girl that's just sitting there waiting for him in the prison next to him. Yeah, of course. Now we have, him holding the EVOO bottle. I love how it's CGI'd in there. We looked at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers not holding it, and a thumb that should be on the ground. I can't not talk about the Heroes of the Horn scene because it was such garbage. Was the filming of it as intense as it looks on screen? Well, it doesn't look that intense on screen, so I would say no. It was a singular experience to be able to be doing a scene like that, and it's also my last day on set. So this also to me sort of confirms another thing that Sanderson said, was that they weren't going to do it. His last day on set, they rushed it in there, said we got to get the Horn of Valyr in there because, well, this whole thing is garbage. We might as well ruin the Horn of Valyr too. Or people are gonna be like, oh, the Great Hunt. Oh yeah, the horn's supposed to be the main focal point of the Great Hunt. Oh wait, we forgot it. Oops. I think that speaks to that they weren't gonna do it, and they decided against it. They decided we better get this in here. Now that would also explain why they have all these weird ass costumes. They just raided, like, they went to Troy and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Last Kingdom, and Bahubali, and Aquaman, and they stole. They got. This is, I don't know what this is. Is that Downtown Abbey? And they rummaged through a Robin Hood, and they rummaged through all the casting props and said, okay, we have some Heroes of the Horn. What do you think? I think that's probably about right. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so there was a great sense of relief in that for the character and for me, having gone on the journey with this character as well. Those things felt like they were in sync. That sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook. In the same way as what Matt feels, he feels like this only works if he, I think, wait, what? In the same way as what Matt feels, he feels like this only works if he, I thankfully never grew up in a place where there were bears, but what the fuck is he talking about? I really enjoyed it. As a kid, I watched many films that had moments like that, like Gladiator or Master and Commander. You only dream really that you might be one day even around something like that happening. So here we go again, invoking the name of much greater films and relating it to this trash scene. I don't even know how you even get close. Like, it should have been on that level. It could have been on that level. But it looks like some shitty ass B-plot sci-fi show like Krypton or some the old school sci-fi shows. Yeah, one of those. Not the fun ones, the ones that you like want to stab your eyes out watching. And then, of course, once again, we have to talk about him wearing new clothes, because Matt smells. Now, there is one more. And I know this is getting a little long, okay? But bear with me, because this one actually has a few other things. This goes over everything, okay? That the others went over, right? But this one now, of course, this interview starts out with him talking about how his cat is running everywhere, so, yay. So at least this interviewer doesn't, go right into kissing his ass. So I'll give him credit for that. I'm a huge Matt fan from the books, so I love what happened to him in the finale. Then you're not a huge Matt fan. What was it like to blow the horn of Valyr? I still don't think he's blown it. So, he probably doesn't know how to answer that. What was it logistically like to have to shoot the arrival of the heroes, and what does it mean for the character Matt to have realized he is a hero? He needed a horn to tell him he's a hero. Do you hear that? Like, do you see how ridiculous that is? A horn tells him he's a hero, so now he's a good guy. So, and I want you, like, and I think it's fairly obvious that Donal, Mr. Finn was either done doing interviews or just didn't care about this one, because he answers everything. He starts every answer with the same thing, like he's just completely done with it. But yeah, I mean, what was it like to blow the horn of Valyr? Pretty amazing. On set, on amazing days on set. Well, you just said in the other interview it was the last day. So what was it? Like, I don't like being a dick like that, but I tend to believe it was the last day. You just sort of pushed it in there. I think that you need to go to Prague, and that might be good news or whatever for whatever reason. I don't know, whatever. So here, it was also my last day on set. So whatever. Those are some of the last scenes that shot part of season 2. Again, leading to we were going to leave the Horn of Valyr off. Right? To get stuck into what is really, understandably any young lad's dream. We've all watched Gladiator or Master and Commander and kind of thought it would be amazing to do that. I'm pretty sure he's still thinking it would be amazing to do that because we didn't do it. But, once again, we're treading the same ground. Okay? Can't believe I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. Speaking of Matt's sort of incredulity, he seems to be immediately have gotten a little bit more martial combat knowledge and immediately has some old tongue knowledge. Is that something that came from the horn, do you think? Will it stay afterwards, or is it dependent upon the horn in the show version? In the show version is the important thing. Once again, I think it is some. So, again, we can't, because we forgot to do the whole thing where Matt's father is a champion, bow stave with a bow stave, and he's taught Matt how to use it and all that stuff, and all the him being completely messed up from the dagger and all that stuff. We forgot all that stuff, so we don't even know now the horn just made Matt a good fighter, and he can speak the old tongue because of the horn. Because oopsie doopsie. Like, they don't even know. They have no idea. Blowing the horn doesn't grant you anything. It links you to the horn so you can call them. That's it. If I'm wrong about that, then correct me. I don't think I'm wrong. In that episode 2, Matt finally able to conquer the temptation of the dagger. I thought he was already healed, wasn't he? No? So Moraine sucks. We already knew that. Which has haunted him for the last 2... How did he overcome it? Why did he overcome it? Why does he have it? Why is it there? Why doesn't Pan and Fane have it? He turns it into a spear because that's what you do with daggers. Where did you think he came up with that? This is great. Where do you think he came up with that idea? Has he officially broken the curse? And what was it like learning how to do combat with the spear? Well, he didn't do any combat with the spear, so... But this is great. I want to read this whole thing. Yeah, so now we've done answered with yeah, Yeah, so 2 yeah, yeah, It was unreal having the time and the resources with the incredible stunt team to go in there every day and train with them. It felt like an exceptionally lucky thing for me to be able to experience. I would love to see the training stuff. So let's can we post a video like we did of those shitty bloopers of the training, because I don't believe you. Part of my work and preparation was then kind of going in training with them and building up a routine kind of like, week by week. Like, here are some core skills, and if you know how to do this, then we'd be able to apply it to any given moment, whether it's like spinning the staff around or being able to run and spin at the same time. Oh my god. Well, thank God we got the training so you can run and spin at the same time. Come on, dude. Like, please. This is just, this interview is the worst. I just feel very lucky. Like, that kind of part of my job, I think it's great. Great resource. That's the answer. So he didn't answer any. He answered the first part. And then he doesn't ask, where did he think he came up with that idea? And so he doesn't answer anything else. Because the answer would be, I don't know who was stupid enough to come up with the idea of attaching a dagger to the end of a freaking bedpost. Should we intuit that Matt is done with the dagger, he's conquered it, or do you think there's a way it could still be an object of temptation for him down the line? Yeah, I mean, that's number 3. Without giving any spoilers, I think it's natural to imagine that these things are always a part of your life. I am so glad we are following the book. Man, aren't you glad that you read the book? And that, when the White Tower took care of the taint on the dagger and Matt, that basically the dagger became a non-issue for Matt? No, we are going to be dealing with Matt and this stupid fucking dagger, whatever the hell it is, the rest of the show's run, which hopefully ends at season 3. And then we're back into the costume. So, we have to talk about how he doesn't change his freaking clothes again. And then we're talking about the tea in his past visions. And one point of contention amongst the fans, besides for the whole show, is the sequence where Ishmael gives Matt the tea. First of all, why the hell, right? So we're asking some real questions here. But second of all, did you interpret that Matt saw his visions of the past? Were they tricks? Were they his future? I'm curious to what you personally think Matt was experiencing. I think he was just having a freaking just fever dream. I mean, so there we go again. I mean, he's answered again with I mean. In the performance of it, he's just trying to understand the experience of life and death, fight or flight, kind of pleading for help kind of way. It isn't until much later that after that experience that he will even try to come close to figuring out what he was experiencing. I also think part of Matt's character is that it's really uncomfortable. It's really dark. There's probably a bit of him that may not really want to speak about. He may not only want to investigate it, but try and kind of bury it. I think that would be very... so again, he doesn't answer it because they have no answer. They don't know what it is. They just said, let's have Matt strangle a bunch of things. Yeah, I think performing those moments, he's just trying to cling on to a sense... That's what... I mean, he said the same thing. I think what's going through his head is, I've drank this tea and I might die, I think these are the things that are flashing through his head before the impulses of his brain stimulate me to stay alive because, I think it might be drinking something that might... Why would he drink it? Oh boy. So, I know... Guys, girls, I know this has gotten long. I want it to be short, but there's just too much. There's so much to cover, and it's a joke. And this is probably going to be one of the better interviews out of the group. I mean, I'm just speculating, but Matt's character has been completely assassinated. It's a joke. All you have to do is look at this, and it's a joke. And we're comparing this right here. This right here, we're comparing to a scene from Gladiator. And they're bouncing all over the place. We keep talking about reading the books. We keep talking about, how we're trying to match the characters. We're reading ahead to see where we're going to go. Why would you do that? maybe that's what it is. They've stopped reading the books like Joshua did because, well, there's no point. There's no point. It doesn't matter what's in the books because we're not doing any of it. I don't know. I may cut this into 2. We'll see. This got really long. I apologize. I may just post the whole thing. If you like seeing me go through several different versions of the same interview for the character of Matt, the wheel on the Wheel of Time, let me know, and I'll just do the same thing for all of them. It could get long, and I may go insane, but I think we need to go through these interviews and scrutinize them for what they are, which is a bunch of gobbledygook, and they don't really know. They're just trying to make you think that they care about this show. I would love to see the video, the behind the scenes of the training sequences and the hours and hours they put into getting ready for this battle on the bridge with 12 clowns and some Shan Chan soldiers. Again, I don't really think this is the actors and actresses' fault. I think it's the production team and the writer and the showrunner's fault. It's a joke. It's a joke. And it's only going to get worse. And I'm going to keep calling it out, even if I keep sinking subscribers. So please, subscribe, like, let me know what you want to see from me. And until next time, I think we'll probably hit Rand next if we keep going. And yeah, we'll see how bad it gets. Holy crap. Thanks for watching, and until next time, all hail the Lord Dragon. We'll catch you on the next one.